right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Shutting their doors to send a message.
We've been here for many generations and we're not going anywhere.
Local Hispanic businesses prepared to close to protest the president.
My guess is the city wants this to go away.
A $10 million settlement for the family of Sonia Massey.
What dollar amount can you put on a human being's life?
The deal, the impact, and the next steps for her family. But first,
a quiet finish to the weekend, but all eyes are on our 2 weather impact alert days. Why 2 storms provide chances for snow and a wintry mix? We'll time it out ahead.
good evening, everyone. I'm Robert Townsend. While things are cloudy and dry tonight, in just 3 days, we'll be in a weather impact alert. Snow threats are going to creep across the country and soon into our own backyards. Here's meteorologist Gary Frame.
Yeah, as we continue to focus on the next 36 hours, the rest of the weekend quiet, and you'll see that now because obviously we start off this morning with some heavy drizzle, light rain, and then clearing as the sun set in many spots. You'll see the back edge of that clearing also signifies cooler weather right now. As you look downtown, temperatures holding steady right now, 33 degrees with a northwest breeze at 6 miles an hour. It is light, it's still above freezing, but this is kind of typical of this time of the year. And of course, into the overnight hours, it will get colder. We're going to fall into the mid-20s, probably starting off with some frost tomorrow morning. However, as we look at Tuesday and Wednesday, those are 2 weather impact alert days. Like I said, it's a tale of 2 storms, and that's the main focus. Light snow early Tuesday, 1 snowflake. More of a problem Wednesday. I picked a different icon for that because I do think that we're going to see a little bit more than just snow. I think freezing rain, sleet, also a possibility, and I think Wednesday offers some challenges in terms of travel and more widespread impacts throughout the region. We're going to time that out for you here shortly and talk about not only the rest of the weekend, but I want to go in more detail about both of these storms and how they're going to impact us, and also talk about some accumulation here over the next 48 to 72 hours.
Your weather impact forecast is always available, even when we're not on air. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355, and we will send you a link. An update tonight on the fatal shooting of Sonia Massey in Springfield, Illinois. This week, her family reached a $10 million settlement with Sangamon County. Now, it comes more than 6 months after Massey's death at the hands of a Sangamon County sheriff's deputy. New tonight, Annie Krall is in our newsroom after speaking with local attorneys and the NAACP about what's the next steps in the settlement could look like in its coming days. Annie?
That's right, Robert. We also were able to hear a little bit more in the case of Sonia Massey because it's reached after the relatives have spoken to us. The county and the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office have agreed to resolve all of the family's claims of wrongdoing when it comes to the county's resolution. And we actually obtained it here on 5 on Your Side. But legal experts tell me this settlement is by no means the end.
As of early February, Sangamon County officials have proposed a $10 million settlement with the family of Sonia Massey after she was shot and killed in her home at the hands of County Deputy Sean Grayson on July 6th.
There's certainly no number that you can put on the value of a daughter or a sister or an aunt or a mother's life.
Attorney Roland Swanson Jr. focuses on social justice, personal injury, and criminal defense in both Missouri and Illinois. He's emphasizing this agreement from both sides came via mediation on Monday by a neutral third party.
How Sangamon County is going to get the $10 million to pay out, they still have to decide, to my understanding. But that is the agreed upon amount for settling this unfortunate case.
On average, a settlement like this is about $1 million, according to Anders Walker, a professor at St. Louis University's law school.
$10 million is a big settlement. That suggests either there's political pressure on the city to do something, or maybe there's more to the story. Maybe the city's not confident they could win this at trial. So it's a lot of money going to the family of the victim.
The agreement awaits final approval from the Sangamon County Board at its meeting on Tuesday. NAACP St. Louis County President John Bowman says it's a tragic story he's seen over and over again.
It seems like it's one thing after another with these not only black men being killed, but now black women.
Massey's story still getting national attention during Black History Month, Bowman using it to bolster the mission of his fraternity, Omega Psi Phi.
Here we are today, and my fraternity, our mantra is protection of women. We stand on that.
Bowman is like many now waiting for Grayson's criminal trial to start.
He had several options. He could have tased her. He could have backed up. It's two broad, big guys. I'm 6'4", 250. This guy is 6'5", 260.
As the millions potentially get approved by the county board, 30-year-old Sean Grayson continues to face first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct charges. He's pleaded not guilty. Robert?
Annie, thank you for the latest in that high-profile case. An investigation is underway tonight after a deadly crash on West Florissant near North Kings Highway. This crash happened yesterday afternoon across from Calvary Cemetery. Now, police say 64-year-old Alexander Larkin got off a bus and tried to cross the street. That's when a driver hit Larkin with their car. The driver stayed at the scene and cooperated with police. Larkin was taken to a hospital, but later died.
It's been stressful. It's been hectic. I've been mad. I've been angry because they've been targeting our community.
Right now, more than 24 Hispanic and Latino-owned businesses around St. Louis are preparing to close in protest against President Trump's immigration policy. Trump is standing firm on a plan to send millions of people back to their country or origin. Antonio Garcia, who owns Latina Taqueria in St. Anne, says his business has slowed down after Trump went back into the White House. And now Garcia wants to show just how much impact his North County business and others have on the community.
And we just want to bring awareness that we're not all criminals, we're not all rapists, we're not all this and that. We're hardworking people that came here well, my mom brought me when I was little, so we're here to better our lives, to do better for our families.
Businesses will close for 7 days starting on February 11th. What was once one of the most iconic buildings in the city got a little extra love today. A group of volunteers got together to love bomb the old Railway Exchange building. Now, the Landmarks Association of St. Louis says the idea is to recognize historical buildings that need a little extra love. While crafting their hearts, people could learn about the history of the Railway Exchange building and its significance to the St. Louis area.
With a building that big, it's been central in a lot of people's lives, whether they were shopping there, working there, passing through there, etc. And it is just a beautifully crafted building. It has a lot of texture, a lot of history, a lot of stories, and hopefully a great future too.
The city and the building's owner continue to go back and forth over the cost of that historic site.
No matter where you are in life, you deserve dignity, respect, and love, and that you are valued as a person.
This evening, Caritas Family Solutions, a Southern Illinois nonprofit, held a gala to help support its work in the St. Louis community. That includes pregnancy care for women, adoption, foster care, assisted living for seniors, and a lot more. Now, the organization helps more than 6,000 people every year. Tonight, one couple, Dan and Karen Krankel, was honored after fostering more than 400 children since 1981. Our own Michelle Lee, you see her right there. She emceed the event. Tariff troubles still top of mind for many Americans. How those international taxes could impact the price at the pump. And Super Bowl safety, how the Big Easy is beefing up security as tens of thousands of fans cram into the city.
After a quiet finish to the weekend tomorrow, we're going to eye 2 separate weather impact alert days for Tuesday and Wednesday, but not all days are created equal. We'll talk about the most impactful timing and when we're going to see the most snow or other types of precipitation ahead.
Today, 3 more hostages are back home in a 5th round of exchanges between Israel and Hamas. Nearly 200 Palestinian prisoners. Those hostages have been held captive for nearly 500 days. As the ceasefire continues to hold, protests broke out again in Tel Aviv, calling for the rest of the hostages to be released. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said today he plans to destroy Hamas and release the rest of those hostages. This week, President Donald Trump announced a pause on planned tariffs on Mexico and Canada for 30 days. Now, if the tariffs are imposed, costs could rise on anything from food to gas to cars. But right now, we don't know exactly when those high prices will hit our wallets. If Trump sticks to his plan, Canada and Mexico will be hit with a 25% tariff. That could mean paying 25% more on things like gas. AAA says nearly 70% of U.S. crude oil imports come from those two countries.
60% of the final price that we pay at the pump is driven by crude oil prices. So as crude oil goes, so too do gas prices. And of course, we do know crude oil could be impacted by any tariffs. There are many factors that go into that final cost, including global supply and demand, weather events, geopolitical events going on around the world, as well as seasonal supply and demand.
Right now, China is striking back on American tariffs by imposing its own on U.S. energy and metal imports. Unless a deal can be reached soon, economists believe the real impact on American wallets will be felt when businesses empty out their warehouses and need to bring in more supplies.
As we prepare for our weather impact alert days on Tuesday and Wednesday, expect measurable precipitation Tuesday and Wednesday in two different waves, one snow, one up in the air. We'll discuss what that means and when it arrives just ahead.
All right, you're getting a live look down in New Orleans ahead of Super Bowl Sunday. We're a little over 19 hours away from the long-awaited, highly anticipated kickoff between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. It's set to start at 5:30 our time. Security is definitely getting beefed up before one of the biggest sporting events in the world. Listen to this, more than 73,000 people are expected to pack the stands before we get there and check out this big game. Just weeks after a terror attack on Bourbon Street that left more than a dozen people dead, you remember. Here's the latest from NBC's Jesse Kirsch.
On Super Bowl Eve, tonight New Orleans security passing a major stress test with a fortified pregame parade.
This is the first time that this has ever happened, that we have this much security.
Does it feel like the right thing to have right now?
It feels like the excellent thing to happen right now.
The parade just blocks from Bourbon Street, where a terrorist killed 14 people New Year's Day. Super Bowl 59's lead federal coordinator says the attack altered this weekend's security plan.
The governor sent additional bollards in, we brought in National Guard, and I brought in more personnel as well.
With over 100,000 people, including President Trump, expected downtown tomorrow, authorities will be fanned out across the city, in the sky, and on the Mississippi River.
And beyond patrolling the water, boats like these will be able to get emergency personnel downtown in minutes if the streets are jammed.
Federal authorities say in an emergency, state and local officials would make decisions with the NFL.
For anyone who is skeptical of this city, of this state's ability to make sound judgment calls with an event like this, what would you tell that person?
I would tell them that the city and the state have made concerted efforts and are continuing to make concerted efforts to keep their citizens safe. We've worked really well with them to make sure that they have the resources they need to do that.
The Department of Homeland Security says they built their plans around President Donald Trump's possible attendance. They're working with the Secret Service to ensure his safety. Now you're getting a live look at the Wheel downtown, where earlier today it was an honoring event for the local Scouts. The Boy Scouts of America just changed its name to Scouting America to reflect its goal to involve kids all across the country. Today also marked 115 years of scouting across America, and to celebrate it, the Wheel lit up red, white, and blue. We're back with Gary Frank as we brace for another round of snow in just a few days, putting us in a weather impact alert. Huh, Gary?
Yeah, it's been nice to have a few days break from that, warm back up, clear things out, and then we're going to add more snow. Still February, even though we get to 76 degrees already this month. That's what happens. But you'll notice that clouds have cleared out, and we'll talk about what's going on the next several hours. You'll see those temps in the teens behind it. That's filtering in overnight. And we're not going to drop down that far, but I do expect us to fall into the mid-20s here into the overnight hours. But tomorrow, we're back into the mid-30s with a north breeze at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tomorrow, easy day. We know what game you're watching. We'll keep you posted in between then. But as far as indoor parties go tomorrow, this is fine, right? No big deal. Tuesday, Wednesday, that's the big story. And that's what I'm going to devote the next 2 minutes and 10 seconds about, was the tale of two storms. Light snow early Tuesday. Not as much of a big deal, but it happens during the morning commute. commute. And we have more of a problem on Wednesday, and that's what I think we're going to look at. Right now, let's find where that is. It doesn't look like much, but this is what's heading in from eventually the Pacific Northwest and settling into the central part of the country. And that's where we're looking at that west to east flow where those clouds are moving. That's eventually going to get picked up. Now, as we go throughout Sunday, clouds around. It's not all that warm. It's dry, though. You'll start off Monday, dry, temps in the mid-20s, cold. And then as we head into the afternoon hours, watch where this snow starts to develop. Doesn't look all that impressive, but as we drag this back home, you'll notice our temps still above freezing, still dry. Into the evening, that's when snow settles in. But the key component for me as we get past midnight is the fact that it's around freezing. And yes, it will stick. It's past, obviously, when the sun is up, but our temps are closer to freezing. That's not falling when it's 22 degrees. So that's going to be a big story, but it still will cause issues Tuesday morning. Look how it goes out the rest of the day. We may see another round, but as far as round one, our snow potential just for Tuesday, I paused it then, about up to an inch, maybe a spot that gets 1.5 inches up to 2. That's on the low side. Tuesday is easier because as we look at the probabilities for snow, we have about a 30% chance to get 1 inch of snow. There's nothing on the high side here. This is Tuesday only. I'm circling that because then as we get to the next system, watch this one here. We get through Tuesday, we're all good the rest of the day. Things are a little warmer or above freezing. Let's get this to Wednesday because our next system arrives, and that's when we're going to see maybe somewhat of a mix here. You'll notice that pink shade starts to settle back in, and that's where I think things become a little more complicated. While a snowstorm off to our northwest looks pretty imminent, we're in between where the further northwest you go, the likelihood of snow, and we're going to see a mix of freezing rain and sleet. And when you look at our temperatures, yes, it is colder overall, but we have that warm layer of air, so there's still a little bit confusion for storm number 2 on Wednesday. The storm track is becoming clear. It's going to impact us, but most of Wednesday, I think, in a timing sense, but I don't have totals yet because I don't know what precip type is dominant. We're not yet. That storm is lagging behind first storm. So as we look at the next few days, you'll notice that our main impacts are we have 2 storm chances, slick conditions, the light snow on Tuesday morning with more problems on Wednesday. Wednesday's system is more of an issue. The next 7 days show you those weather impact alert days with light snow, snow in a mix. I'm trying to do a little melting, but those are the days we're looking ahead to, especially ahead of when no one pays attention to what we're saying at 5:30 tomorrow.
What, something's going on?
Yeah, something.
All right.
We watch Gary, thanks. Yeah. Corey, what's happening in sports?
Well, it was a marathon shootout for the ages at Enterprise Center with an unlikely hero, a thriller in Columbia, and a blowout in Minneapolis. Sports is up after the break.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Onder Law Injury Attorneys.
The Blues are about to get 2 weeks off thanks to the Four Nations face-off. It would feel a whole lot better to beat the rival Blackhawks heading into that break, wouldn't it? It took some extra time, in fact, a lot of extra time, but I think Blues fans will be able to start the break with a smile. Historic night for Ryan Suter. He became the 22nd player in NHL history to play 1,500 games. His teammates honored him with some specially made shirts. Blues down 2-0 early, but blink and you missed them. Tie it up. Philip Broberg, 2-1. Then literally 10 seconds later, Nathan Walker gets the equalizer, 2-2. Fast forward, it's 4-4 in the third. Blackhawks make it 5-4 with 9 minutes left, only to be answered by Robert Thomas on the doorstep. We're tied at 5 and headed to overtime. Scoreless OT led to a shootout, and it was a marathon, folks. Here's a look at all 20 attempts. Yes, this went 10 rounds. Even Pat Maroon got a shot for Chicago. Eventually, it was Roddick Fox's turn, and he comes up with a great move and goal to set the stage for Jordan Binnington. A stop wins it, and Binnington gets it done. Blues win 6-5 after one of the most exhausting shootouts you're ever going to see. So how did Fox get the call for the eventual game winner?
Process of elimination. But honestly, Davey said he had a good forehand-backhand move. That's what he did.
Saw it before in practice, so I was hoping they were going to call his number, and nice patience for the big man, and is able to seal us the win.
In the SEC, nothing is easy. The Missouri Tigers had to play the 4th and 10th ranked teams in the country this week. Wednesday was nearly a signature win, and today's game had a similar feeling. Full house to see the Tigers battle the 10th ranked Texas A&M Aggies. A&M started the game on a 12-0 run. Tamar Bates finally gets Mizzou on the scoreboard and says, "Everybody calm down, we're good." Second half, Mizzou fighting back. Caleb Grill finishing off the alley-oop. Then Bates on the drive, big-time jam. We're tied at 49. Tigers leading with 7.5 left when Bates cashes the logo 3. Mizzou up 4. Minute left now. Mizzou down 1. Marquez Warwick, clutch steal. Oop to Bates. Mizzou Arena loses its mind. But here's the only play that really mattered today. Tie game, time winding down. Wade Taylor's money for 3 for Texas A&M. Caleb Grill's prayer is just going to come up a little bit short. And Mizzou suffers their first home loss of the season, 67-64.
Well, we knew who was going to shoot the ball. I think everybody in the gym knew that. So at the end of the day, he made a shot, and that we got to live with it. And ultimately, you know, if it was up to me, I would do the same lineup that was out there defensively.
Brad Underwood at number 23, Illinois on the road at Minnesota. Illini up double digits in the second half. Kasparas Yakachonis drills a long 3. He had 24. But Will Riley was the star in Minnesota. Spin cycle finish at the rim. Then he shows off his long distance game with a pair of impressive 3s. Talk about a heat check on that one. Then one more time for good measure. Move in the lane, contact, and 1. 27 points for the freshman as Illinois throttles Minnesota 95-74.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
City SC continuing their preseason today out in sunny California. Down 1 to Austin in the 88th minute. Here comes Thomas Totland to the rescue. He beats the keeper. That made it 1-1, which is how the game would end. City has just 2 more preseason games on the schedule before the home opener on February 22nd. And you've eaten all your wings, you've won all your bets, and you're going to see who's going to Disney World. Now flip on over to Sports Plus tomorrow. Frank Cusimano sits down with KSDK legends Jay Randolph and Ron Jacober, and also catches up with soon-to-be symphony star Adam Wainwright. That's tomorrow night at 10:30, right here on 5 on Your Side.
It'll be really nice to see those legends honored.
Oh, yeah. Good
Corey,
stories.
thanks a lot. Gary's got to find a quick look at our weather.
Yeah, I think as we look over the next few days, temperatures will stay pretty close to normal, but it's cold, and we're looking at Tuesday and Wednesday, weather impact alert days. Picking between the two of them, Wednesday, the more impactful day. We'll continue to focus on that throughout the next few days.
All right. Hey, that's all of our time for 5 on Your Side at 10. Saturday Night Live is coming your way next. Have a great night, everyone.